Let's also talk about the Church of England. I'm just going to have to do a deep sigh at this point. The Church of England has decided that the £100 million reparation plan they had to atone for their sins, having benefited from transatlantic slavery, isn't enough. And actually, they need to pay out £1 billion in slavery reparations. I wonder if £10 billion would be more appropriate. I mean, you just get into silly realms, don't you? But basically, they're saying they're going to raise the money, going to ask for donations from some wealthy benefactors, but also bearing in mind the Church of England, like not as rich as the Catholic Church, but very rich, worth billions, should be paying out £1 billion in slavery reparations. I mean, some of us might wonder who to. I mean, I'm thinking, what, Oprah Winfrey, one of the richest women in the world, so she's a descendant of slaves as a black woman in America. Should she get some reparations? Who are you paying these out to? Should the church be paying any?
Oh, well, I think the sum is far too much. I mean, look, I'll never tell anybody what to do with their own money, but, you know, people... Exactly. And it would be never-ending, because there'll always be cases, there'll always be people that can look back at history and say that they might have been, or their family were victims along the line, and there's no doubt that they were, but where does it stop to say today, in 2024, that you have to pay me money, you have to pay me off, or you have to pay some sort of compensation because of a family history that...
hundreds of years ago. And by the way, Britain ended the slave trade. There's also calls for King Charles to apologise to Caribbean nations again. You know, again... So, I mean, he's not responsible. Yes, the royal family benefit. Yes, they all did. Lots of people did. Most people in Britain didn't benefit, though, by the way. I mean, I would love to know when the Romans and the Vikings are going to pay reparations to me and my family. When's that coming? I'm sure that, you know, my parents, and parents, but great-great-great-great-grandparents working as serfs in an Irish farm, or working in a, you know, dark satanic mill somewhere, you know, or scully maid or something. I doubt very much that we were having a great time. Not as bad as slavery, not pretending it is. But the idea, you know, most people, until 100 years ago, until 80 years ago, had rotten, miserable lives. And they did, and were exploited. Absolutely. The world is a better place now. Why not celebrate that and look forward?
Well, I think that's right, but it's also the case that I think that there are, you know, it was huge injustices back then, absolutely, hundreds of years ago, but there are huge injustices now. And when I hear about that £1 billion or that £10 billion or whatever they want to raise, that could be going on those kids in Birmingham that are going to be finding themselves in hardship and needing
modern-day slavery, which the church actually does do good work on.
Exactly. You know, seeing people that have served in our armed forces still sleeping rough on the street, you know, get them off. There are modern-day injustices that we need to be tackling now, and that money could be helping the right people today, right now.
But also, I'd love to know when people are going to be asking for reparations from the West African nations that exist now, where I mean, you know, white people didn't round up black people in Africa. It was black Africans who basically went and captured black Africans to sell as commodities in the slave trade, the West Transatlantic slave trade. And by the way, that was happening in every single empire before and after. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just always happened. It's an appalling, disgusting atrocity. There is still slave trading going on right now. It seems to me it's just an absolute abomination for them to discuss this. I'm so bored of this sort of whole white guilt. No, we're not all guilty of anything. We're all alive in this century. We weren't alive then. It didn't happen in our lifetimes. We're not victims of it.